What's up, all Power Asker? Today's video, we're building a double Cardan U-joint. Got the H-yoke, 2 U-joint, centering yoke. They're not too bad. Honestly, this is the first time I've ever built one of these. You get to follow along as I figure it out. But it really wasn't as bad as I thought. See that yellow TJ right there? There's my 91. Yellow TJ, the Bronco, rust bucket to my left. This drive shaft is the front drive shaft at a 2006 model TJ right there. So, want to see how it's done? Let's do it. So the first thing we need to do is get that clip out right there. What you do is get your pair of needle nose pliers, or in my case I'm going to use my welding pliers. Grab hold of it, squeeze the clip, and work it out. Be careful. If your pliers slip, yeah, if you got flying saucer on your hands, you might find it, you might not. Dad's already removed most of the clips out here, so I actually had to put one in to show you guys how to do it. This is out of his TJ. So, alright, got the clips out. Good. Now let's get the U-joints out. Now your centering yoke right here, if everything back here is worn out enough, as this right here is, it will allow you to push that back, get a screwdriver in behind it, and see if we can work that cap up. There it goes. That will allow more movement of these U-joints. So when we go to knock it out, you'll have more freedom of movement. So we'll flip it over, wedge that back, and pull that one out, and your seal. And that will allow more movement back here for the U-joint to slide the way it needs to go. Get your H-yoke, position it in place here, and get you a socket or whatever. I'm using a wrist pin out of a piston. Position this so it gives good support for the H-yoke, but allows that to go through. Just walking right on out. Now don't knock it all the way through, because you're going to have to bring this U-joint back this way. So we ain't quite where we need to be yet. Got a little bit further. Looks like it may have to knock it all the way through. We're going to get some channel locks. I'll be right back. Nope, not quite enough yet. So we take it down this way. We'll try to push it out this way, see if we can get enough for it to move. Now the reason these U-joints are moving so easily, some of them are sticking like crazy, some stick like crazy, some don't. Dad pulled his drive shaft out of his TJ before he brought it down to me to change this out and make a video out of it. He set and just soaked. He would flip it over and put like a PB blaster and just let it sit in there. He did it for like a week. He would rotate it, let it soak in there, rotate it, let it soak in there, get all these U-joint cups, including the other end, which I've already changed, which really helps these things come out. Now, if you ain't got time to do that, I mean, do what you got to do. But right now, his TJ is running window front drive shaft because I'm working on it. Okay, looks like I'm going to knock it all the way through. And bring it out like that. And then there's your centering yoke, which I have a new one going in. Now you got a spring right up inside here, right there. Hang on to that. You see, it's done for. So we'll set this over here like this. Supported by the 2x like this. And where'd my, there. Oh, jerk fitting right there. I'm hitting it, so it won't go no further, so I got to flip around this way. I'm like, why won't it go? That Skeeter is trying to get me. Cap's busting out. Well, that's a fine howdy doody. Well, we know that one's moving easily, but we just gotta get this one to go back down the other way, or move enough to get that zerk fitting out. It moved a little bit. I'm just about to the point I might be able to reach inside there and turn that zerk fit and get it out. So note to self, pay attention to what you're doing next time, and either take your grease fitting out first or knock your U-joint away from the grease fitting. Little by little, it's coming on out. Okay, I'm gonna work the sucker out of here. I'll be back in a minute. Ta-da! Got it. Now, note to some of you people out there who get really crazy. It don't want to move, so I'm gonna hit it harder with a hammer. Or it don't want to move, and I'm gonna take my press. I'm gonna crank it really hard, make the thing move. Don't, because it will break stuff. Sometimes when you drive like where I drove this through that way, I wasn't paying attention to which side my grease fitting was on. If I was to have it to press and keep pushing, you're subject to crack your H-yoke, or in some cases drive shaft, whatever it is you're pressing. If it doesn't want to move freely, especially after it's broken loose, don't force it, because that means something is binding and you don't want to damage your yoke, okay? Get off that mentality, it won't move, so let's put more pressure. It won't move, let's beat it harder. All you're going to do is damage stuff. So, now that we got that zerk fitting out of the way, see if we can move it on out of here. Put this up on here. So my U-joint will come on through my cup. Get my hand out of the way so I don't hit it. Let's see. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? Oh, look at yonder. There we go. Now the next trick is that this U-joint is a little bit out of alignment there of the H-yoke. So we need to get that to center up to where that is going to come through the H-yoke. So now we got lined up like that. We stand this up here. Turn it over like this. And whack it, because it's just about through. There she goes. H-yoke is released. Then we're going to take our U-joint, go ahead and drive it out like you would anything else. Set it over like this. Set that there. Drive it on through. Pull this out. And get down here. Oh, we're going to get that lucky. Okay, maybe I shouldn't drove it all the way through because it don't want to come up. Rotate it. Make sure it's centered. Don't get crazy beating on it. Like I said, you will damage your yokes and stuff if you get crazy with it. Tap it in. Make sure it's centered. That's centered there. There she goes. She's driving right on home. Like any other U-joint, position it. Drive it out the back. Ta-da! Now we'll clean it up and put the new one in. Now for cleaning up, all the I did is use carbon choke parts cleaner and sprayed down inside the hole, took a rag, wiped it all out. Screwdriver, flat screwdriver, get inside that groove, make sure you got no debris inside that. And do it for that too. And the centering post right there that your centering yoke rides on, make sure it's good and clean. And so first thing we're going to do, put that U-joint right there in. And just like any other drive shaft, take your cups off, seals and all. Some people want to argue that, you know, don't take the seals off because the seals up here. You got to take them off because you'll damage them. Down here, take this one off. Sit back over here out of the way. You can take that one off, make it easier to get through. Drop it all in, bring it up. Thought that was dirt, it was just grease. With your posts coming up through, feed the cap down slowly, because that'll keep from knocking your needle bearings out of whack. Okay, let it come down, let it ride. If your drive shaft's in good shape, you don't have to hit it hard. Yeah, let's see if I got enough on the other side. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a little more. Okay, now we're going to roll it. Push your U-joint up a little bit so your bearings will engage correctly. Feel it. See right here, I can't move the U-joint back and forth because each side the bearings are engaged. Tap it in. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to flip back to the other side. Why? Because we can put our snap ring in here. Go around it like this, be sure it seats and we're good. Roll her back over. It's seated till you can see your ring lands right here for your snap ring. Good. And put another snap ring in. Go around your snap ring, make sure it seats. Here's a snap. There we go. But right now we're going to wait before we put the grease fitting in. So we got this over here set. Center that. Pull that. Get your H-yoke. Come in from here. Bring it over this way like this. Leave this one sticking out. Roll it over. Take your H-yoke and knock it out of the bearings. Set it right down there. Sit your H-yoke down on your wood block. Dang it. Ouch, baby. Drive it through just a little more. That's what I got. Let's see if we can do it. Put your snap ring in. What I do with it, there it is. Make sure it seats. Flip it. That was seated. Yellow snap ring. Make sure it's seated. Good. Okay, what you didn't see is that we tapped this little seal on there, which goes around it. This is where your pivot, centering pivot sits in. There's a lip. You see the little brass ring right there? That's sitting over top of the lip that's inside here. Look real close, right there at the end of my finger. You can see there's a metal lip before it hits the black. You got to take your screwdriver, sit over top of it. Take your screwdriver and tap around it. Just keep walking around it until you tap it down. Now, here's the catch. On this right here, on this side, the lip is supposed to sit like this. It was rolled back, heading back this direction. So therefore the seal wouldn't core over top of it. So I took a tiny pair of channel locks you guys see me with a minute ago and rolled that lip just little by little back toward the centering pin, which took away that roll, because the lip was rolling back at me like this, would not allow the seal to go on. So once I got that lip outside there in line, hooked this back side here, which was where that roughness was, tapped it from the front side here, and just kept walking around it. Now you got your seal in place. We're going to put the centering piece in. Your spring. Now I told you a minute ago to hang on to your spring. I'll show you something. Inside this little white sleeve, right there's your spring. We're going to take that out, put it in that. Right there. And it goes right down inside there. See how it sits up there? Now, whenever you put your centering yoke in, it's going to want to push up on you. That's where things get interesting. Put your U-joint back in. So, I want to shoot me some more grease down the side here to make sure we're good and lubed. And we'll put the centering yoke in, then we'll put the U-joint in. Now, you see, you set the centering yoke in, you see where that seal sits over top of it. It's just more like a dust boot more than anything, to keep all the grease and grime from getting to the pivot. So we're going to set the drive shaft back down and see how much fussing and cussing we do try to get this U-joint back in. Okay, to start out with, leave these two on, tuck it in here. This side will go back inside there. Make sure you line your tabs up on the centering yoke. And get these in there. The problem you got is that spring inside that centering yoke is pushing back on you the whole time. There we go, center a little better. See if we get lucky enough to do that. Yeah, I gotta bring this one forward. Get it on the yoke. So drive it a little bit more. But you gotta rock your centering yoke down a little bit, but not too much. Just flip our yoke. Bring Skeeter. Bring your cap in slow so you don't knock your bearings out of whack. You know, you're going to push your centering yoke till you feel your bearings engage. Lost my channel locks. But also the catch to that is too, you gotta be careful that your post inside there's not moving your bearings like it did. See if they're real close. Bearings moved. Okay, that's pretty well centered. I'm going to try to drive this back a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to try to move my yoke down just a little, my U-joint down just a little bit more. And we're still centered. Again, eyeball your bearings, make sure they're all in place. Good, lens. See, they're all straight. There she goes. There's a very particular feel. There's no way I can explain this on camera. If it hits, it's a dead stop. I mean, like, it's like you go boom, you hit dead. You're on a bearing. You just want to rock that H yoke and the centering yoke until you find that sweet spot where it feels like it's kind of mushy. The mushy is the post getting past the bearings and pushing on the grease. So like I said, there's a very distinct feel that you're looking for. And clips. Top of the clips. And one thing too, this is one right here, you want to make sure your grease fitting is on the outside. So you can get U-joints without grease fittings, but if you get them with it, make sure this is on the outside, because you're not going to put your fitting in if it's back there. It's just not going to happen, so pay attention. It would be no fun to take that back out just because of the grease fitting.
Most people never greases them.
Huh?
Most people never greases them. That's why they go out.
That's exactly true.
I've never had one apart that had grease in it. It was bad.
Got that one snapped in. Flip your drive shaft. So we need to tap that down a little bit to seat it. See, if I had my thumb on that, it'd been gone. Alright, here, snap. Now, right here on this back side, it's not wanting to set the groove. It's good right through here, but right there, it's not wanting to set right. Screwdriver, not where it's sticking out, but get in where it's still inside the groove. Get in right there, tap, 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 and she's home. And now, you got a grease fitting there and there. Put them in, grease them up, and you're done. So I'll be back in a minute. And once you get your grease fittings in, give it a little shot of grease. Now if it's forced, like right now, I'm watching it come out the reserve fitting right here. If it's that hard, odds are you're crossed and everything's all full of grease, you don't need it. So back it on out of there. Get out of there. Roll it on over here to this one right here. Right there. Drop it on there. And do it slow, because you gotta watch right here. You don't want to blow your grease out of the seals. That's a bad thing. And always squeeze your grip right here, close it off. You're gonna have a little bit extra grease. Wipe it off on an old box or something. Like it's right here. Because you're gonna trash it anyway. Now with this grease fitting that's way down the side here, these take a little bit special deal. Right there, so if you can see it. Do a little zoomage on it for you. Give me a screwdriver for a pointer. There we go. Right there. See that one? That one takes a little special fit, which is on. Ta-da! Right here. Where's the viewfinder? There it is. Takes a little grease needle. Press it in the center of it. Put a little bit of pressure to it. Squeeze my handle for the grease. And see, this is taking grease because that's inside the centering yoke, and it's got some air void going on inside there. But don't do it fast. You just want to fill it slowly. And where that seal we showed you earlier is setting against the centering yoke, it's filling up all that void inside there. And on these you may see a little bit of grease come squirting out a little bit. Yeah, but there it is. See, we got a little bit of grease coming out right there. So that sets your, it's mostly just a dust boot more than anything. But you get grease inside of it, it's gonna prevent any junk from getting inside there. So that pretty much sums it up. Wipe off all the excess grease, we just sling it around your floor pan. And there you go. That's how you build a double Cardan joint drive shaft. So, Power Ass Crew, sure hope you guys learned something from this, because I did. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever built one of the double Cardan U-joints that's got the centering yoke in it. I always thought that centering yoke right there would be kind of a pain in the tail. Where's it at? Watch me just slip and hit myself in the nose. Right there. Yeah, that's it. Centering yoke. I always thought they'd be kind of a pain in the tail. They're actually not too bad at all. So, I learned something today. You guys can watch. Well, actually, you did watch if you're watching the ending here. And I appreciate you watching. So everyone, if you did enjoy this, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, leave some cool comments down below. I appreciate you hanging out. Peace. Later, y'all.